Are you tired of your children getting bored or restless during their homeschool day? Well, what if I told you that there's a way to make homeschooling a lot more fun and enjoyable, and you actually don't have to do all the work? Sitting still is not productive. We know that once we sit still for a certain amount of time, we get tired, we get bored. It feels like if it was the longest day ever, but yet we did nothing. So this is why in this video, I'm going to go over why movement is important for our children, how exactly we can break the boredom and make it a lot more interesting to have a homeschool day where there is movement involved, and how you can include some movement into the actual teaching that you give to your children every single day of the week. Now, we all know that movement is important. It helps our body, it helps our mind, it helps our focus, but I'm going to go a little bit more detail here why movement is so important when it comes to homeschooling our children. Movement gets the blood flowing not only to our legs, but also to the super important organ that we have, which is our brain. You can think of it as giving your brain a mini spa day where it comes back feeling refreshed, rejuvenated, and ready to take on the next long division calculation that your child had to do. We know that when we move, there are endorphins that are released in our body. And normally that would be something that can help us, push through a really hard workout. But when it comes to focus, moving is going to be able to help our children to focus a lot more because our blood is flowing, we feel more alert, and that way they're going to be able to focus either on the task at hand or the next task that they're going to need to do. Now, I don't know about you, but whenever I do a workout, no matter what mood I'm in beforehand, yes, I'm tired at the end, but I'm definitely in a better mood afterwards than I was before. So this is why it's also really good to be able to include movement in our day, because then it's just going to help our children to be in a better mood. And I know when it comes to like tweens and teens, anything that we can do to help increase their mood, I'll take it. So including short bursts of physical activity throughout the day is something that's going to help our children to boost their creativity, but then also help with the concentration levels. So now that we know why movement is important with homeschooling, we might be wondering, okay, but how exactly do I do this? Because if you live anywhere like we do in Quebec, the homeschooling rules are so strict. So you might be wondering, okay, but I still have curriculum to cover. So you're telling me now that we need to do movement also? Like, we don't cover gym. But this is not gym. I'm just talking about being flexible in the way that your children are learning, being flexible in the way that you're teaching them. And this could include little short dance breaks. It could include, going outside. So I'm going to give you a little bit more examples that you can use in your day-to-day and see how you can incorporate this into your homeschool day. One thing that we love to do here are brain breaks. So you can go on YouTube and find so many brain breaks. But let's say if you're someone, you're like, you know what, I don't go on YouTube. Well, how are you watching this? But anyways, let's say you're someone that you're like, I don't want to look at any brain breaks for them to follow. How exactly can I do this on my own? Well, then you could just decide to do random activities, random exercises with your children, or have them do it. That way you don't have to do the work in between the subjects that they cover. So I would suggest something kind of like a Pomodoro technique where they work for 25 minutes and then they're off for 5 if they're an older child. If they're a younger child, even like 5-10 minutes would be enough, and then they can go and take another break. I know with my daughter, she goes through her topics really quickly. So I usually have her do 2, and then I have her go do a brain break, and then she comes back and she does 2, and then she's done. That's it. Whereas with my son, it's a little different. He likes to take his own spin on what a brain break is. I would love to see a lot more movement when it comes to him, but he does a little bit of movement and he does riddles. This is the thing that he loves to do, and he incorporates movement in it. You can also have them do different activities, like physical activities, while they're answering your questions. So let's say if you're asking them, how do you spell the word cat? Well, then they could do a jumping jack for every single letter that they use. So C-A-T. Or let's say you have them do a squat for every single letter. Or you give them mathematical equations, and anytime that they get it right, they get to choose what the activity is. And if they get it wrong, then you get to tell them what the activity is. It's really just about getting them to move while they're learning. And that actually increases the probability that they're going to remember what they're doing. If you've been liking this video so far, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel. And then if you know a mom that is also homeschooling their children, maybe they'll want to hear some information on how they can incorporate movement into their day. So share this video with them. And then let me know in the comments, do you incorporate movement into your day, and how do you do that? You never know. There could be a mom that's reading the comments right now and she's trying to get all of the information on how she can do this with her children. And your tip might be the one that resonates with her family the most. Another fun activity that we've done is we did a scavenger hunt in the house, but it was with the questions from whatever workbook that they're working on. So with my son, he was doing Roman numerals at that point in time. So I just wrote out like a few, questions from his Matthew C book, and I put it on a piece of paper and I folded it and I put it random places in the house. And once he got one right, then I would give him a clue on where to find the next one. With my daughter, she was working on her letters at that point in time. So that's what we did. There's definitely a way that you can incorporate this no matter what level your child is in right now. And you can make it fun by making it a scavenger hunt. So they're moving, they're going around the house, they're, jumping over the couch, or they're crawling underneath the table to be able to find the clues that they're going to use. And they're learning at the same time. So it makes it fun. And then obviously there's the regular just going out and taking a walk. Sometimes you just need to take a break. You need to refocus and you need to get some fresh air. You can go for like 5-10 minutes, go around the block, depending on how big your block is. You could even turn it into a nature walk where you're talking about the different trees that you see, or the animals that you see, or the sounds that you hear. And that way they're still learning, but you're still getting some physical activity at the same time. But this is one where you are going to have to be with them. So, I did say that you won't have to put in any effort. If you do decide to do the nature walk, well, then this is the one where you're going to do a little bit more work with them. If you're someone that would like to read the content of these videos and all of the other videos that I've done, or if you just want to find all of the freebies that I offer when it comes to these YouTube videos, you can find the information on my website. So go to www.mommyandmewellness.com, and then in the blog section, that's where you'll be able to find all of these videos, all of the written material for these videos, and then the freebies that you can download and start using in your household. Overall, we just want to see how we can make homeschooling fun for our children. I don't know about you, but we've been doing this for 3 years, and sometimes it just gets mundane when you just have the textbooks and you're like, okay, another day of textbooks, what are we going to do? But this is something that you can do to make it a lot more fun and enjoyable. There's so many other things that you can do to make homeschooling fun, but adding movement is something that's going to help their body, their mind, but it's also going to make the homeschooling day enjoyable. And then at the end of your movement break, well, you're going to need this habit that is going to help your children refocus afterwards. Because if they're super excited from the activity that they just did, they might not be able to focus. So wheel it in, do this simple habit, and then you will be able to have your child focus all over again. See you in the next one.